Hello students, from today's video we are going to start with a new chapter, P block elements. We have learned in grade 11 that the elements in the periodic table are placed under 4 blocks. What are they? S block, P block, D block and F block. How do we classify the elements under these blocks? It depends upon whether the last electron enters s orbital or p or d or f orbital. So now coming to p block elements, what are p block elements? Elements in which the last electron enters any one of the 3p orbitals. Such elements are called p block elements. And we know a p subshell has 3 degenerate p orbitals. What are they? Px, Py and Pz, and each orbital can accommodate 2 electrons. So totally how many electrons can be accommodated in a p subshell? 6 electrons. So we have 6 groups of p block elements: 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 and 18. And each group contains 6 elements. We are excluding helium here. So each group contains 6 elements. So there are totally 36 p block elements in the periodic table. If you look at the outer electronic configuration of these p block elements, you can see the atoms of the elements of these group receive their last electron in 2p, 3p, 4p, 5p, 6p and 7p orbitals. The first members of these groups are boron, carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, fluorine and neon. So these are the first members. About this 13th and 14th group, we have already learned this in grade 11. So for grade 12, you will be learning in detail about 15, 16, 17 and 18th group. So the first member of the 15th group is nitrogen. So we call this family as nitrogen family. And 16th group, first element is oxygen and it is called as oxygen family. And the 17th group, first element is fluorine. They are together called as halogens. And the last group is called as noble gases. 18th group elements are called as noble gases and the first element is neon. The general electronic configuration, which is the outer electronic configuration of 13th group, is Ns2Np1. So if you take for boron, we have boron, aluminium, gallium, indium, thallium. If you take boron, the configuration will be 2s2 2p1. If you look for aluminium, which means the second element in 13th group, the configuration, outermost configuration will be 3s2 3p1 and then 4s2 4p1, 5s2 5p1. So for this family, the common configuration, outer electronic configuration is ns2 np1. Same way for 14th group, it is ns2 np2. Now coming to 15th group, what is the general outer electronic configuration? ns2 np3. So for nitrogen, it will be 2s2 2p3, here 3s2 3p3, 4s2 4p3 and it goes on. Same way for oxygen family, the general electronic configuration is ns2 np4. So as the group number increases, the electron keeps on entering the p subshell. So here it started with 1 p1 and then p2, p3, p4, p5, p6. So now it is completely filled and that's the end of the group. So we have 6 groups together under the p block. So now coming to oxygen, the outer electronic configuration is ns2 np4 and for halogens ns2 np5 and finally for noble gases it is ns2 np6. 6 plus 2 is 8 and that gives you a stable octet configuration for noble gases. So now tell me how many outermost electrons are there in nitrogen family? 3 plus 2 5. For oxygen family 4 plus 2 6. For halogens outermost electron is 5 plus 2 7 and here it is 8. In this video, as I told you already, we will be starting with group 15 and before going into group 15, I will be giving you a brief introduction about all the groups and the general characteristics. So in this chapter, P block elements, you will be learning in very detail about group 15, 16, 17 and 18 elements and some compounds of these elements. In this picture that I've given here, I'll just tell you what are the details that you can get from this picture. First thing is metallic and non-metallic character. Now see, the first two elements of group 15 are non-metals, and this third and fourth are metalloids, and the last one is a metal. Same for group 16. First two are non-metals, oxygen and sulfur. Selenium and tellurium are metalloids, and polonium is a metal. So you can say as you move down the group, what happens to the metallic character? It increases. See, from nitrogen, which is a non-metal, you're moving down to bismuth, which is a metal. So as you move down the group, metallic character increases, or you can say non-metallic character decreases. So same thing happens here. Now when you come to halogens, all of them are non-metals. Same way noble gases, all are non-metals. So you can say as you move from this side to this side of the periodic table, metallic character decreases, non-metallic character increases. Here, this side you have metal, here also you have metal. So as you move to this side, they become non-metal. So the non-metallic character increases along the period and metallic character increases down the group. These are the general trends that you should remember, because while we are learning about each group in detail, we will be discussing about all this once again. Now coming to the electronic configuration, when you take the first member, which means nitrogen, oxygen, fluorine or neon, when you look at their configuration, first and the second shell will be filled with electrons, which means K and L. When you take K shell, it has only p orbital. In L shell, we have 1s to be filled orbital, and in L shell, we have 2s and 2p. So we don't have any d orbital. So that's the reason why I've written s and p. So in all the first members, they have only s and p orbital. Starting from the second member, as you move down, you have d orbitals also. Whether it is filled or not, you will be having vacant d orbitals, because if you take K, L, M shell, K you just have 1s. When you take L, you have 2s and 2p, no d orbital. When you take M shell, we have 3s, 3p, 3d. Whether it is filled or not, it is present in the third shell. So these elements will have d vacant d orbitals, but here you don't have any vacant d orbitals. And obviously, since they are p block elements, what will not be filled? The outermost d orbital will not be filled. So all of them will be having vacant d orbital, but not the first member. The reason why I am insisting this is these first members will behave differently from the rest of the family members because of this one particular reason. What is the reason? They don't have vacant d orbitals. So we have seen what happens to the metallic character when you move down the group or you move along the period. And same way you can tell about electronegativity also. When you move from this side to this side, electronegativity increases. Remember, when you go this side, which means to the s block elements, they are electropositive, but these extreme this end, they will be electronegative, which means the halogens. What is mean by electronegative nature? They have the more tendency to accept electrons. Why this side is electronegative? Because the outermost electron is 7. So if it gains one more electron, halogens can attain noble gas stable configuration, 8 electrons in their outermost shell. So they have more tendency to accept electron, so they are more electronegative. So as you move along the period, electronegativity increases. As you move down the group, electronegativity decreases. These are the general trends. When we are talking in detail about each group, there will be certain exceptions, but this is as a whole the general trend. And so we have seen the metallic or non-metallic character trend, and we have seen electronegativity. Now coming to atomic size, we know as you move along the period, atomic size decreases, and you move down the group, atomic size increases. Keep that in mind. All this details will be helpful when you learn about their other properties. So atomic size increases down the group, decreases along the period. And next comes ionization enthalpy. As the atomic size decreases, ionization enthalpy increases. So ionization enthalpy increases along the period and decreases down the group because atomic size increases. And once again, what is ionization enthalpy? The energy required to remove an electron from a monovalent gaseous atom. So when you move along the period, as the atomic size decreases, the electrons will be held very tight by the nucleus. So you need to give more energy to remove the electron from the outermost shell. So obviously ionization enthalpy increases. But as you move down the group, as the atomic size increases, it will be easier to remove an electron. So the ionization enthalpy decreases. So now we will move on to each individual groups. So you will be learning about the occurrence, where you can find these elements, about their electronic configuration, their ionization enthalpy, what happens down the group, because you're going to learn about each group individually. So we will be comparing properties of each elements. So whenever we say, we will be talking about down the group, because we are going to compare the members of the same family as we are learning about individual groups. So you'll be learning about their ionization enthalpy, electronegativity, their physical properties like melting points, boiling points, metallic character, and then their chemical properties, how they react towards hydrogen or oxygen or with metals, and then what compounds they form and what is the importance of those compounds. All these details we will be learning under P block elements. So now let's start with group 15 elements, nitrogen family. Group 15 elements. What are the elements present in group 15? Nitrogen, phosphorus, arsenic, antimony, and bismuth. As I told you already, nitrogen and phosphorus are non-metals. Arsenic and antimony are metalloids. And what are metalloids? They show the characteristics of both metals and non-metals. And finally, bismuth is a metal. First, we are going to start with the occurrence. I've tried to given all these details in points so that it will be easier for you to understand or read the text, because when you look at the textbook, you will be having a lot of paragraphs. I want you to read the textbook and make notes of your own, or you can use these notes also. Don't get tense when you look at the textbook, because you'll have a lot of theory part and lot of equations, and they are very, very simple, and I've tried my best to give it to you in a very simple way. So try to follow that. So first, let's start with the occurrence of group 15 elements, which means where can you find them. First, nitrogen. What is the symbol of nitrogen? It is N. You can find nitrogen in the atmosphere. 78% by volume of the atmosphere is molecular nitrogen, which means N2. You can also find atmosphere in the Earth's crust, and it occurs as sodium nitrate and potassium nitrate. Sodium nitrate is NaNO3, and it is also called as chili saltpeter, and potassium nitrate KNO3 is called as Indian saltpeter, the name given to them. So it occurs in Earth's crust in the form of sodium nitrate and potassium nitrate. And nitrogen is also found in plants and animals as proteins. You would have studied in biology about rhizobium, how it fixes nitrogen in the root nodules of pea plants. So in plants and animals, you can see nitrogen in the form of protein. So these are the list of occurrence of nitrogen. And next comes phosphorus. And phosphorus occurs in minerals of the apatite family. When we say apatite, this is the general formula of apatite family. Ca, calcium, Ca9, PO46, CaX2. This X can be any halogen like fluorine or chlorine, or it can be OH. So if instead of X, if you put F, what you will get? Ca9, PO46, CaF2. Then we call this as fluorapatite. If it is Cl, chloropatite. So phosphorus can be found in minerals of apatite family, and this is an example of fluorapatite. Same way, when we say minerals, we actually mean rocks. So fluorapatite is a main component of phosphate rocks. And next, phosphorus is an essential constituent in plant and animal matter, just like nitrogen. And phosphorus is present in bones, living cells, and in milk and eggs, it is present in the form of phosphoproteins. And the next members of the family, arsenic, antimony, and bismuth, they are mainly found as sulfide minerals. In minerals, you can find them as sulfides. Just like how you can find nitrogen as nitrates and phosphorus as apatites, you can find arsenic, antimony, and bismuth in minerals as sulfides. I've written few example: Sb2S3 and Bi2S3. This Sb2S3 is called as stibnite, and Bi2S3 is called as bismuth glans. They are sulfides in which antimony and bismuth are present. And look at the symbols: arsenic As, antimony Sb, and bismuth it is Bi. So that's about the occurrence of group 15 elements. Next, we are going to see the atomic properties of these elements. When we say atomic properties, we actually mean the atomic and ionic radii, or ionization enthalpy, and electronegativity. For that, you should know the electronic configuration. So let's start with the electronic configuration of the group 15 elements. We have nitrogen, phosphorus, arsenic, antimony, and bismuth. The reason why I keep on listing these elements and again is to make you remember. So whenever we say group 15, you should immediately remember what are the elements present: nitrogen, phosphorus, arsenic, antimony, and bismuth. And the atomic number of nitrogen is 7. So how can you write the configuration? 1s2, 2s2, 2p3. So instead of 1s2, you can write helium, because the configuration of helium is 1s2, because the atomic number of helium is 2 and the configuration will be 1s2. So instead of 1s2, we are writing He. What is the atomic number of phosphorus? It is 15. So for the 10 electrons, we are writing the configuration of neon: 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 3s2, 3p3. So neon 3s2, 3p3 will be the configuration of phosphorus. Arsenic, it is 33. So argon 3d10, 4s2, 4p3. And for antimony, krypton 4d10, 5s2, 5p3. And for bismuth, xenon 4f14, 5d10, 6s2, 6p3. And for antimony, the atomic number is 51, and for bismuth it is 83. And we know the general electronic configuration of group 15 elements is Ns2 Np3, and that N can be 2, 3, 4 or 5 or 6. So here 2s2 2p3, 3s2 3p3, 4s2 4p3, 5s2 5p3, and 6s2 6p3. When you look at this outer configuration, s orbital is completely filled. So in all the cases, we have 2s2, 3s2, 4s2. It is completely filled. But p orbital is half filled, because maximum number of electrons can be 6, and here in group 15 it is half filled. So that makes their electronic configuration extra stable. We know half filled and completely filled orbitals are extra stable. So group 15 elements are extra stable. Now coming to atomic radii. What happens to the atomic radii as you move down the group? It increases. So down the group increases. So which is having the small size? Nitrogen. Bigger size? Bismuth. When you look at the increase in size from nitrogen to phosphorus, there will be considerable increase in the atomic size. When we say atomic size or atomic radii, we actually mean covalent radii. We have 3 different radii. What are they? Covalent radii, van der Waals radii, and metallic radii. So here we are talking about covalent radii. When we say the atomic radii increases down the group, nitrogen and phosphorus, when you compare, phosphorus will be having a bigger size, but the increase in size will be considerable, which means the difference in size will be more. For nitrogen, the atomic, which means the covalent radius is 70 picometer. For phosphorus, it is 110 picometer. So there is a considerable increase. So nitrogen to phosphorus, there is a considerable increase. But from arsenic to bismuth, the increase will be small. For example, for antimony, the covalent radius is 141 picometer, and for bismuth it is 148, 141, 148. So there is no considerable increase. The increase is small. The main reason for this is due to the presence of completely filled and half filled d and f orbitals, because they are heavier members, and you have d orbitals completely filled and also f orbital here. Because of that, so in what way these D and F electrons contribute to the atomic size? They are poor shielders. They don't shield the electrons from the nucleus. So the effect of the nuclear charge will be more on the electrons. So they pull the outer electrons towards themselves, the nucleus. So what will happen? The size decreases. So here, not only the incoming electron is added to a new shell, but also the shielding is poor. So that also contributes. So there is a small increase in the size when you move from arsenic to bismuth. So when you look here, nitrogen and phosphorus, the new electron is added to a completely new shell in phosphorus. So one thing that contributes to the considerable increase in radii is that the atomic size increases because the newly coming electron enters a new shell. Here you have Kl, here you have KLM shell. One point. And the second thing, the S and P electrons, they are good shielders, which means they shield the electrons, outermost electrons, from the nucleus. So the nucleus cannot pull the outermost shell, so the size does not shrink much. So there is a considerable increase in the size of the covalent radius when you move from nitrogen to phosphorus. But here, because of the poor shielding of D and F electrons, the increase in size from arsenic to bismuth is small. Now coming to ionization enthalpy, it decreases down the group. As the atomic size increases down the group, ionization enthalpy decreases down the group, which means it is easier to remove the electron, outermost electron, as you move from nitrogen to bismuth. Now when you compare the ionization enthalpy of group 15 and group 14, what do you actually expect? As you move along the period, ionization enthalpy increases. So, and yes, group 15 has higher ionization enthalpy than group 14, but the increase in the ionization enthalpy is very, very high, which means group 15 ionization enthalpy is very, very higher than group 14 because of the extra stability of the half-filled p orbital. And you know about first ionization enthalpy, second ionization, and third ionization enthalpy. When you're removing the first electron, the energy given is called as first ionization enthalpy, represented as delta H1. When you remove the second electron, then it is second ionization enthalpy. When you remove the third electron, the energy required is third ionization enthalpy, and they will be increasing. First ionization enthalpy is lesser than second, and second is lesser than third. Now coming to electronegativity, as I told you, it decreases down the group with increase in atomic size. So as the atomic size increases, the electronegativity decreases. So down the group, electronegativity decreases. Next one is physical properties. What are the physical properties we have? Metallic character and boiling point. It increase down the group. So as you move down the group, metallic character increases and non-metallic character decreases, and boiling point also increases down the group. How can you relate metallic character to electronegativity? Electronegativity is the tendency to accept electrons. Same way, we know metals have low ionization enthalpy and low electronegativities than non-metal. So you can compare the electronegativity of the elements to decide on the metallic character also. Now coming to boiling points, as the size of the atom increases, van der Waals forces of attraction will also increase. So the boiling point increases. Not only for group 15, when you take any other groups, as the atomic size increases, van der Waals forces of attraction also increases. So obviously boiling points will increase. And when you look at nitrogen, it is a diatomic gas, whereas others are polyatomic solids. Only nitrogen N2 dinitrogen is gas, others are solids, polyatomic, like they exist as P4. Phosphorus exists as P4. So nitrogen exists as only N2. We will learn all these reasons in the upcoming videos. And now coming to melting points, nitrogen to arsenic melting point increases, and arsenic to bismuth melting point decreases. The reason the melting point decreases from arsenic to bismuth is due to inert pair effect. It is the Inert pair effect is nothing but the reluctance of the s electrons to participate in bond formation, or you can say the ns2 electrons as you move down the group will not take part in bond formation, and only p electrons will take part in bond formation. So this inert pair effect becomes more pronounced as you move down the group. So these elements here can form only 3 covalent bonds instead of 5 covalent bonds, because these two electrons, they are not involved in bond formation, only 3. So they can form only 3 bonds. So this results in weakening the attraction among their atoms, thereby lowering their melting points. So that's the reason there is a decrease in melting point when you move from arsenic to bismuth. We will learn about these bond formation and inert pair effect when you study the oxidation states. So as for now, you just understand melting point increases when you move from nitrogen to arsenic, and it decreases from arsenic to bismuth. So they'll give you arrange the group 15 elements in the increasing order of their melting points. Then you should know how to write this order. And now, as I told you already, metallic character increase down the group. Last point, except nitrogen, all elements show allotropy. Allotropy is the ability of these substances to exist in more than one physical form. If you take carbon, it can exist as diamond and also as graphite. So diamond and graphite are allotropes of carbon. Same way, except nitrogen, all these elements, they show allotropy. So we have seen the atomic properties and the physical properties of group 15 elements and also their occurrence. In the next video, we will continue with the chemical properties of group 15 elements. Thank you.